class and listen to it. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala. In front of us, a mighty task. We're going to be talking about two great incidents, which is number one, the Battle of Bani al-Mustaliq, and which is called al-Muraisee, and also the story of the great lie against Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha. So without any delay, first of all, when we talk about the battle of al-Muraisee or al-Mustaliq, we need to know where does the name come from and where is the place and what happened in that incident, or what sort of benefits we could gain from such a battle. Bani al-Mustaliq, which is the name of the fight, it's called the Battle of Bani al-Mustaliq. That is the tribe itself, and they are from Khuza'a. They are from the tribe of al-Khuza'a. And these people, they used to live a place called Qadid and also Usfan, which are on the path from Medina to Mecca. They're closer to Mecca. Okay, so those are the Bani al-Mustaliq. Those people and others as well from the Arabs, they started to dare themselves onto the Muslims after the result of the Battle of Uhud. Because of the Battle of Uhud, basically had an end which is not really good for the Muslims. People thought that the Muslims are vulnerable, so they wanted to take advantage. And one of them is Bani al-Mustaliq. And it's also called the Battle of al-Muraisee because the place there where the battle took place is called al-Muraisee. So Bani al-Mustaliq is the people whom the Prophet ﷺ fought, and al-Muraisee is the place where the battle took place. Right. So the Prophet ﷺ, as soon as he had heard that those tribes from Khuza'a, Bani al-Mustaliq, they have prepared themselves to fight the Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ, he wanted to make sure that he has the element of the initial attack and the element of surprise as well. And also the Prophet ﷺ, before he did so, he sent some, of his companions to gather intelligence in order to check whether this is true or not. And it was true. So the Prophet ﷺ, he left. Now, as in the history, some of them, they say it's the year 4 after Hijrah. Some of them, they say it's the year 5 after Hijrah. Wallahu a'lam, the correct opinion is close to the 5 after Hijrah, which makes it about 2 years after the Battle of Uhud. The Battle of Uhud is in Shawwal, 3rd of the Hijrah. This one is in Sha'ban, before Ramadan, Sha'ban, just like the month we are in at the moment, the month of Sha'ban. In Sha'ban, year 5 after Hijrah. As I said, some scholars, or historians, they make it 4 after Hijrah. Whether this or that, but we know that it took place in close to the Battle of Uhud. Okay, close to the Battle of Uhud. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he went to that place which is called al-Muraisee, and this is a well. So then the place is called because of the well. There's a well of water there, and he actually surprised them because they were there, and he had the element of surprise. So the battle just finished so quickly. Everybody was scattered. Not only that, they left behind them a lot of war booty, even including the women and the children. So the Prophet ﷺ won that battle quickly. The head of the tribe is called Al-Harith ibn Durar al-Khuza'i radiyallahu anhu. I'm saying radiyallahu anhu because he was a kafir and then later on he embraced Islam. Al-Harith, he is the head of it, and he had also embraced Islam later on. As we're going to see, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he had embraced Islam, even he told him later on to get the zakah from his people. And we're going to, inshallah, adjourn the story until we finish the battle itself. So the Prophet ﷺ basically taught those people a lesson. And he also taught their surrounding tribes a lesson. That is, we are not vulnerable. Don't you think because we have been defeated in the Battle of Uhud, that anybody can just go and defeat us? So basically, when the army got back from the battle on the way to the Medina, there's something or some incident. When the Prophet ﷺ, when the army going back, there's some incident took place. Actually, 3 major incidents. Start with one after the other. First one, you could say the smallest one, when the companions had camped, okay? Prophet ﷺ, he went into the woods and he found a tree and he shaded himself in the tree. And while he was there, he hooked or hanged his sword onto the tree. The Prophet ﷺ, he was asleep. There was a Bedouin, Arabi, from the disbelievers, took advantage of that, took the sword, and he pointed it to the head of the Prophet ﷺ. And then he said, the loud voice, "Are you scared of me?" So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "No." So the Bedouin man, he said, "Who's going to protect you from me?" So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Allah, Allah, Allah," 3 times. So the sword fell from the hand of the Bedouin into the hand of the Prophet ﷺ. Now it's the turn of the Prophet of Allah. He's saying to him, "Who's going to protect you from me?" So the Bedouin man, he said, "Well, if you want to kill, make it an easy kill." SubhanAllah. Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, "Do you testify that there is no God worthy of worship except for Allah alone, and I am the messenger of Allah?" The man, he said, "No." And he said it with all confidence. Yet he's not in a position to say no. And if you were in his boots, he would have just said, "Yes," just for the sake of making sure that he will not kill you. But this man, he was assured that these people, their reputation are to be truthful. Their reputation are to be keeping the promise. That the Prophet of Allah's reputation, he would keep his word. And these people will not kill somebody because he's not adapting the religion. And this is a very good point you could use to say that there is no compulsion in religion. There is no compulsion in religion. If there was any compulsion, that man would have just said, "Yes, I embrace Islam," just to save himself from the death. But he did not do that. Okay? So he did not do that. Somebody's asking me, please. Hold on a second. Right. Okay, right. So basically, the Prophet ﷺ, his reputation that he will give the option for the person to embrace Islam or not, even though he had the sword on top of his head. It cannot be used against him. He said, "Did you testify?" Because if it was with force, the man would have just said yes. He said, "No," with all confidence. Then he said, "But I will promise you, I'm not going to fight you." SubhanAllah, he's not in a position to fight him. He's in a position to be killed now. Not only that, he said, "I will not associate or I'll ally myself with other tribes to go and fight you." So the Prophet ﷺ, he let him go. The man was astounded with this. He went to his tribe and he said, "I came to you from the best of the people." This is the prophethood manners. You can't find it with anybody except for the Prophet ﷺ. When the Messenger ﷺ went to Medina and he started now giving the war booty, because the children and the women who would have been prisoners of war, captives, they have to be now given to the Muslims in order to look after them. Some of them will be married to them, some of them will be slaves. And those slaves also, if they are capable of setting themselves free, they are having the option with their master to make a deal, a contract. And the master of theirs, if he saw that they are able to produce what they promised, then he is not allowed to say no to the deal. So he has to accept the contract and say, "Okay, you pay me such and such, and I will let you go." And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Oh, verily, Allah is amazed." Look at that. Allah is amazed that people being dragged to paradise. How can you be dragged to paradise? These are the slaves. They were kuffar. Then they fell as prisoners of war in the hands of the Muslims. And then, because they were servants of the Muslims and slaves, they saw the manners of the Muslims and they embraced Islam. They were kuffar and they were dragged to Jannah because they lost the war and they became as prisoners of war, so with chains, and they were put into Jannah. They embraced Islam because they saw what the Muslims, how good they were. They don't treat the slaves as the word slave in the mind of everybody who's listening to me now. When we say slave, what comes to your mind? Number one, a whip. Number two, humility. I would say humiliation. Number three, black. So this assume your mind, a black color. Actually, this is on the contrary. All these 3 points, wrong. Number one, has to be the whip. There's no whip. Prophet of Allah, he said, is not a Muslim, the person who dresses up different from his slave. The Muslim is not a Muslim if he does not to make the slave to eat with him. If he doesn't want to eat with him, at least he will give him his food with his hand. So the master will give the food to the slave in his hand. The slave and the master will walk with each other, and you don't know which one is the slave, which one is the master. One of the companions, he had a slave with him, and he had two pieces of garment. And these two pieces are not matching because he gave one top to the slave, and then he took the bottom, and then he gave the bottom to the slave. So imagine that, a suit, okay, which is another suit. He did not take matching suit. He took one half of it and gave the other half to the slave, so that there will be no sort of edging of one over the other. They are equal. Subhanallah. That's slavery. Point number 2 regarding the slavery that comes to our mind, which is that the humiliation, and this is honoring. Point number 3, so there's no whip, no humiliation. Number 3, black. Most of the slaves at the time of the Prophet are blonde with fair. Yes, because they're from the rooms. Okay, very few from the black, like Bilal radiallahu anhu. Most of them are like Suhaib al-Rumi. They are from the Rome, they're blonde. So it is not true that it's the color. No, it is not. There's no such thing as called race of the color or the color race type. Coming back to the story, basically the Prophet ﷺ, he divided those children and the women in order for the Muslim to look after them. They are slaves, okay? So they are divided onto those who participated in the fight. Now, Aisha radiallahu anha, she tells us something had happened, which is amazing. That she said that when he divided the Prophet of Allah, Juwayriyah, her name was Barra. She was the daughter of the head of the tribe, Al-Harith ibn Ghura al-Khuza'i, which I said to you, I'm going to adjourn his story regarding him collecting the zakat. Okay, so she was the daughter of the chief, and she she was from the ones who have been given to a companion called Thabit ibn Qais radiallahu anhu. So she is basically in his slavery. And she was a beautiful woman. Who's saying this? Aisha radiallahu anha. And any person who sees her, she will capture his eye. That's what she said, Aisha radiallahu anha. She came to ask the Prophet ﷺ in order to help her in her contract, which she made with Thabit ibn Qais ibn Shammas radiallahu anhu. Okay? So when she came to the door, she knocked on the door. Aisha, she came out, she saw her. She saw the capturing, beauty of hers. She said, is the Prophet ﷺ is there? Aisha, she said, I knew. Prophet of Allah would notice that, the beauty. So she said, yes. So she called the Prophet of Allah. As soon as the Prophet ﷺ came out, now she said, Messenger of Allah, I am Juwayriyah. And she spoke to him, and verily you know. And she said, I'm Barra, because her name was Barra at the beginning. And I fell in the hands of, I was being given being divided to Thabit. And I made a deal with him, a contract, set myself free. And I would like you to help me, that is from the zakah money. So the Prophet said, shall I give you something better as a better option? She said, yes, Messenger of Allah. He said, I will marry you, and I will pay the Thabit ibn Qais the rest of the money. So she agreed for that. And the Prophet ﷺ, as soon as he married her, all those relatives of hers, which are from the Bani Mustaliq, who were slaves in the hands of the other companions, when they saw, hang on a second, how can we slaverize, how can we accept slaves, okay, who are relatives to the wife of the Prophet ﷺ. So all of them were set. Aisha, from her justice, radiallahu anha, she said, to honor the barakah of Juwayriyah, she said, Juwayriyah, I've never seen more barakah than her. Even though that the Prophet married her and she became a co-wife, but she was, just. She said, Wallahi, I've never seen a more barakah than her. That because of her, more than 100 of her tribe being set free because they were related to her, and the companions would not accept to slaverize somebody who is relative to the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, we come to the second major incident that took place. So this is we could say the first one, which we said that the Arabi, and also we talked about the marriage of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but we're going to talk about another incident that took place as well on the way. Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, he said, verily, and he was a witness of this, what happened with these hypocrites? Hypocrites were many in the Medina, led by a person called Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. This man, he wanted to be a king before the Prophet of Allah came. And he always playing on the cards of having fights between Aus and Khazraj, the two tribes which make the Ansar. Ansar is Aus and Khazraj, two tribes. And he was from the Khazraj, Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. And he was trying his best to play on his cards on these fights, okay, and be king until the Prophet of Allah had united both of them and he became the head of the state. And that is why the hatred of his towards the Prophet ﷺ, because he took the leadership from him, and also because he hates the Islam. He used to go and, make the Jews and even the idolaters to go and, get together and fight the Prophet ﷺ. But he used to be dressed up like, proper Sheikh Muslim, but yet his heart is kufr and full of kufr. He's a hypocrite. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, by the way, Ahmed, if you're listening, if these people who are entering, we've got 100, khalas, we finished, sorry.
Jazakallah
khair. Sorry. Okay, I'll let you to. Barakallahu feek. Inshallah, next time we will use a program which will allow 500 people. One of the brothers, it's called Taha. He told me about this program, but he told me about it later because I need to set and make settings of it. So he gave me somebody's account where it will be a 500, and then inshallah could use it for those events on Al-Ahad, bi-idhnillah, if we can. So inshallah, we will have that, and then you will have a different ID, not my ID. It's going to be different ID. طيب. Now, these hypocrites, they never stopped to put hatred amongst the Muslims and put fights and sort of provoke each side against the other. And they were always happy when something, strikes the Muslims. And they would be so sad if the Muslims to be gaining victory against their enemies. So here, what's happened now? On the way back, there was a clash between Muhajiri and Ansar. Muhajiri is the one who migrated from Mecca to Medina, or before the Prophet ﷺ. And Ansari is the inhabitants of Medina who gave aid to the immigrants. He gave them aid, and they were setting the best of example. The best of it. I don't think you could be like the Ansar. No way, or any companion. You cannot, no matter what you're going to do, what you're going to say, you can't be like the Ansari radiallahu anhu. And I'll take this opportunity just to show you who are these people. What type of people we're talking about? People, you could call them angels if you wish. Radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. It just came to my mind now a story of this person who came to the Prophet ﷺ in Medina. Said, Messenger of Allah, balagha minni al-jahd. And I'm so poor, I've got no money, nothing, no food. So he's asking the Prophet of Allah, got any food? Now he's the head of the state, the Prophet ﷺ. He asked his wives, one after the other. First one, Salama, do you have any food? They keep telling him, Wallahi, we don't have except for the water. This is the house of the Prophet ﷺ, head of the state. He has no water, nothing, no food, nothing, just water. 9 wives, one after the other, and all of them saying, we don't have except for the water. For those women who complain because they don't have cucumber for next week, not for today. They've got cucumber for today, but next week they want to complain. We're going to run out in 1 week. We're going to run out in 1 week. So they complain. None of them complained. They just said, Messenger of Allah, we don't have except for the water. They did not complain to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we don't have any food to feed even your guest. They didn't say that. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to the companion, who is going to look after? Okay, who is going to look after my guest? And this is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Now, in other books of Sunnah, mentions who is that person who stood up. He said, I will take him. It was Abu Talha. It could be Abu Talha al-Ansari. It could be Talha, another one. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani says Ibn Abu Talha al-Ansari radiallahu anhu. Abu Talha, he takes him straight away to honor him. To his wife. My wife, this is the guest of the Prophet of Allah. So we have to look after him. The first word. He's the guest of the Prophet. You have to honor him extra. What do you have? She said, only have the supper, the dinner of your children. That's all. I mean, it's not enough for the children and the guests. It's for the little children. So he said, okay, make sure that you make the children asleep. Subhanallah. Asleep in order to honor the guest. Make sure they sleep early before they ask for the supper, before they start crying because they're hungry. Let them sleep. Then after that, put the lights up. They had a lantern. Fine, put the lantern up. Okay, and this is before the hijab. The hijab, the covering ayah was compulsory. So the women, they're not muhajjabat, they're not having covered. And she said, when the guests come, okay, put the light down, put it off, so there will be no light. And pretend that we are eating, because this food is not enough for three, just enough for one person, enough for little children. And pretend that we are eating. These are the companions. Pretend. And they pretended. And they have eaten nothing, except for the guest, eaten everything. He doesn't know that they didn't eat with him. The following day, both of them, they go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Salat al-Fajr. The Prophet of Allah had revelation telling him. So he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لَقَدْ ضَحِكَ لَقَدْ عَجِبَ. ضَحِكَ means Allah smiled. عَجِبَ means Allah is amazed. مِنْ أَمْرِكُمَا, from your affair, your matter, you and your wife, what you did to your guest. These the Ansar. Coming back to the Ansar radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. So a fight took place, a clash between one from the immigrants and from the Ansar. The immigrant person, he had kasa'a, that means he hit him with his foot. For a reason, or something. And when he kicked him, the Ansari, okay, basically, he had called for the Ansar to help. Oh, Ansar, when the Muhajiri, he said that the Ansar is calling his friend against him. He called, oh, Muhajiri. So you got Muhajirin and Ansar, both are about to beat one another. Both are about to, I would say, ignite a war. There's going to be a war later on. There was war before between Aus and Khazraj, not between, but this now, there's going to be a war. So the Prophet ﷺ, as soon as he had heard this, he said, "Ma balu da'wa al-jahiliyyah." What is wrong with you guys? This is the da'wah, the call of jahiliyyah. Come here, come here. This is not the da'wah. You embrace Islam now. This is the da'wah al-jahiliyyah. He said, Messenger of Allah, one of the Muhajirin had kicked one of the men of the Ansar. So the Prophet said, leave it. Innaha muntina. Da'wah fa innaha muntina. Yes, we could just make a retaliation. He will kick him back. But this is coming from here and coming from there, and there will be, as I said, igniting a war. As soon as this hypocrite, the leader of hypocrisy, Abdullah ibn Ubay Salul, had heard about this, he said, they did it. I mean, these who are immigrants who came to our land to seek shelter, they dared themselves to do it. So verily, as soon as we're going to go back to Medina, لا يخرجن منها الأعز الأذل لا يخرجن الأعز منها الأذل. Verily, the one who is honorable is going to prevent and kick out and expel the one who is meaner, or the one who is humiliated. And he meant the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he meant him, the honorable, is going to kick out those who are meaner, and those are the ones who are from the humiliated, meaning the Prophet sallallahu and his companions. Subhanallah, Umar al-Khattab, as soon as he had heard these words, he said, Messenger of Allah, let me kill him. So the Prophet of Allah, he said, oh Umar, don't leave him. I don't want people to say that Muhammad is killing his own companions. Why? Because he looks like a companion. Only the Prophet of Allah, he knows that he's a hypocrite, a kafir from the inside, because Allah told him. And whoever the Prophet of Allah told him that he's a kafir, but he looks as a Muslim from the outside. So basically, the Ansar at that time, they were much more in number than the Muhajirin when they came to the Medina. So the one who told the Prophet ﷺ about what happened and what this hypocrite man had said, his name is Zayd ibn al-Arqam. So Zayd al-Arqam, he came to tell the Prophet ﷺ, Messenger of Allah, that's what they said. As soon as they're going to come to the Medina, they're going to drive you out. And they said, you are the meaner and they are the honorable. So the Prophet ﷺ called them. Did he say that? They said, no. So the Prophet of Allah believed them and he disbelieved me, that is Zayd. And because they did not bring a proof, he did not bring a proof. If you brought a proof, but you say, Al-bayyinatu ala man idda'a, wal-hilfanu ala man ankar. That you have to bring me a proof when you say something had happened. Then if somebody did something, if you don't have a proof, and I'll ask the other person, say by Allah you did not do it. So these people, whom the Prophet called them, they said, by Allah we did not say these words. So the Prophet, he has to, even though inside himself, he would believe Zayd because Zayd, he knows he's a Muslim, and those are hypocrites. But the Prophet would not do such a thing because this is the law, this is the system. So he said, okay, come here, Ubay, come your companions, say by Allah you did it, or why Allah did not do it. He believed them, even though inside himself he does not believe them. And he disbelieved Zayd. Zayd, he said, I got really upset. So upset. Not only that, because I told this, all of it, to my uncle. And my uncle is the one who told it to the Prophet. So my uncle came to me and he said, are you happy now that the Prophet of Allah had disbelieved you, belied you, and he believed them? So I was already sad and already I'm just shocked with what happened. Even my uncle just increased that on top of me. Then Allah Azza wa Jal said the revelation. Now, when there is revelation, no one can say anything. Everybody has to submit. The verses in Surah Al-Munafiqun from verse number 1 to verse number 8. Allah says, إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ قَالُوا نَشْهَدُ إِنَّكَ لَرَسُولُ اللَّهِ. If the hypocrites, O Muhammad, come to you, they say to you, we testify that you are the messenger of Allah. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ إِنَّكَ لَرَسُولُهُ. And Allah knows that you are the messenger of Allah. وَاللَّهُ يَشْهَدُ إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ لَكَاذِبُونَ. But Allah testifies, is a witness that those hypocrites are liars. And then Allah said, هم الذين يقولون لا تنفقوا على من عند رسول الله حتى ينفضوا. The ones who are saying, don't give money to those who are around the Prophet, don't give in charity to those who are in need, until those people leave the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَلِلَّهِ خَزَائِنُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَكِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ. But to Allah belong all the treasures of the land, heavens, but they don't understand. يقولون, they say, the hypocrites, لَإِن رَجَعْنَا إِلَى الْمَدِينَةِ. If we go back to the Medina, لَيُخْرِجَنَّ الْأَعَزُّ مِنْهَا الْأَذَلُّ. The one who is honorable, he will expel the one who is a meaner. And they themselves, the honorable, expelling the ones who are the Prophet Muhammad and his followers. God cursed them. وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah says, to Allah belongs the might and his messenger and to the believers. وَلَكِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But hypocrites, they know not. That's an exposing the hypocrites. So the Prophet ﷺ, he called Zayd and he recited those verses unto him. He said, Allah believed you. Who was it? Allah believed. Khalas. So Allah Azza wa Jal exposed the hypocrites, and yet these hypocrites, they did not stay still. Still, they wanted to do something else. They wanted to make something else. Anyway, the son of Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, his name is Abdullah. Once he had heard these verses, he went to the Prophet and said, Messenger of Allah, give me permission to kill my father. Why? Because his father, he said what he said regarding the Prophet of Allah. They love the Prophet of Allah more than they love anything, even themselves. Prophet said, no, don't kill your father. Be good to him. Ahsan ila abik. Be good companion to him. Subhanallah. Then Prophet of Allah, basically that boy, Abdullah, not only that, he went to Medina, okay, and he did not allow his father to enter the Medina, and he said, you cannot enter the Medina until the Prophet Muhammad give you permission, so you know for sure who is the Mina and who is the honorable. It means Muhammad is the honorable, and you are the Mina, the father. SubhanAllah. Hypocrites have failed in this mission, but they haven't failed in that third incident that took place, which is the bigger thing, which is the last one that inshallah we'll have time to talk about, and that is Al-Ifk, the story of the great lie against Aisha. Before we go to the greatest lie against Aisha and what happened to the fabricated lie, we want to learn what we had gained as benefit from the story of the story basically of the Bani al-Mustaliq. First of all, we learn, number one, that we should know 90 something. We should know basically that from this, that the people who call for the sake of Allah, they have to have the manners of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. Is a good example for you to follow in the Prophet of Allah. He's a role model for us. So that is, he does not get revenge for himself. He only gets revenge for Allah the Almighty. First thing we know that from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he dealt with the Arabi, the Bedouin man, how did he do? So the Bedouin man, he had almost killed the Prophet of Allah, and yet then later on, sword fell in the hand of the Prophet of Allah, and it was his turn. If it was you and me, would have just got revenge and killed that man, but the Prophet did not do that. So he said to him, who's going to prevent you from me? And he said, well, if you want to kill, just make it an easy kill. And then he said to him, do you want to testify that Allah is the worthy God of worship and that me and the messenger? He said, no. SubhanAllah. He said, no. And the Prophet of Allah let him go. He said, no. And not only that, he said, oh, well, I will promise I'm not going to kill you. How are you going to kill him? You are underneath the soul. You're going to be killed yourself. I'm not going to ally myself with people who are going to fight. From that as well, when he dealt with Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, when his son, Abdullah, the son of Abdullah, came to the Prophet, Messenger of Allah, give me permission. Okay, to kill him. He said, don't kill him. Umar al-Khattab said, give me permission to kill him. He said, don't kill him. I don't want people to say that Muhammad kills his companions. He said to his son, be good to your father. SubhanAllah. Also, what we learn as well here, we have two names being mentioned here, Al-Ansar wal-Muhajirun. They are noble names. They are mentioned in the Quran. Allah praise them. Prophet of Allah praise them in his Sunnah. They are Al-Muhajirun wal-Ansar. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُم بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. SubhanAllah. So the Muhajirun al-Ansar, names which are mentioned in the Quran, where he says Allah, the first predecessors from the Muhajirun and from the Ansar, these are the companions. They are Muhajirun or Ansar. That Allah Azza wa Jalla, he says that the ones who follow them as well in righteousness, that means in ihsan ultimate, they are, Allah pleased with them, and they are pleased with what Allah prepared for them. But yet when these names were mentioned in a way which is to make a fight between them, it was used as in to show who's super race or super rank, they were criticized. Prophet said, leave that, calling your Ansari, calling your Muhajiri, this stinks. Basically, because you're using it now to fight one another. So from this, we could say, but no problem if you ask somebody, what are you Bangladeshi? What are you Pakistani? What are you English? What are you? But if you're going to use that I am Bangladeshi, or I am English, or that is the one which is not allowed. But if you say that I come from Bangladesh, I'm Bangladeshi, no problem. But to say that you are super race, that you are from the people of, for example, industrial revolutions, and we are from the camels, that's when the mentality of racism comes in. Third issue as well, that we know that the izzah, the might is for Allah and His Messenger for the believers, and the humiliation and the meaners are for the people who are kuffar and disbelievers. وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَكِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah says that. Also, and that is before from Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. He wanted to make himself that is the honorable, Allah made him the humiliated. Also, we learn from this that the big harm is to be pushed by the smaller harm. So we have two harms, two big things, bad things. We push the bigger one with the smaller one, just for the sake of keeping the smaller one in order to keep away the more evil one. Here, the Prophet ﷺ had the choice of Umar Khattab offer is to kill Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. He said, don't. Why? Because I don't want people to say that Muhammad is killing his own people. People with a look, they don't see Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul except that he's a person pretending that he prays, pretend that he's got a beard, pretend that he's got all of that. So when he kills him, okay, people think that he's killing his own companion. So this is a big, massive crisis. Or the smaller crisis, just to leave him. Allah will deal with him. So he left him. And he prevented Umar, and he prevented the son of his to kill him. By this, alhamdulillah, we came to the end of the story of Bani al-Mustaliq or Ghazwat al-Muraisee. I would like to open now, if you don't mind, the question and answer session. Okay, so I will open that for you, and I'll allow you for the chatting as well.
Sheikh, what are the signs that a person is a munafiq?
Sheikh, I think you're muted at the moment.
Sheikh, we can't hear you. I think you muted yourself. Unmuted everyone else.
Since when I was muted, by the way? Since when?
About 10 seconds.
Just now.
Okay, khair, inshallah. Right, can you just, Hassan, did I make you co-host yet?
No, Sheikh, everyone's got right to unmute at the moment, so you need to...
Yeah, but the thing is, I was waiting for you. It got late to come
Yeah.
in.
Afwan.
Yeah. So I don't know where you are now. I'll Hassan, that's it.
I put my hand up, so I should be at the top.
I got you, khalas, I got you.
Okay.
Make a co-host. Right, so I'm gonna unmute everybody and then mute them again. People having coffee now. Right. Now, the ones who asked the question, so I see the first question was basically is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is of two types, major and minor. Allah ibn Ubay ibn Salul is from the major. What is the major? What is the minor? Major is the one who is kafir from inside, pretends to be a Muslim. The minor is the one who is Muslim from the inside, yet you look at him, he's nothing, is anything but Islam, which is most of the Muslims these days. He is believing in Allah, he loves his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, but he's got the t-shirt of Michael Jackson. I mean, how can you call yourself as a, mashallah, good Muslim, but you are looking at anything but a Muslim? You're looking with this hairstyle of yours and everything, subhanallah. You follow the trend. You didn't follow your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. How many years we've been telling those youth to put their beards on? SubhanAllah, they never listened. Prophet of Allah put the beard on. But when the trend came and followed that guy, I never memorized his name, he used to put his beard on everywhere. All the youth found him with beards. SubhanAllah. You follow that man who can't go to the toilet and clean himself? Yeah, you can't. You don't follow the Prophet of Allah, the leader of mankind? Allahu al-Musta'an. So coming back to the question, so hypocrites, which are the major ones, okay, they are kuffar, they have got signs. From them, they betray, they lie, okay, they also they break their promises. So lots of things in them, but it doesn't mean if you lie or straight away or from the major hypocrite. Lots of Muslims, they lie. It doesn't mean that if you are as well breaking the promise, you're a hypocrite. I mean, lots of Muslims, they break the promise. It doesn't mean that if you betray, you're not a Muslim. But lots of Muslims betray. Use treachery. Okay? So, but when these characteristics go more and more into the person, this person will now transfer from the minor hypocrisy to the major hypocrisy. Now, any other questions? Right. While you are thinking about a question, are they able to unmute themselves? Yes?
I don't think so. Let's see.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they can. Yes.
Yeah, they are.
They are, because they ask questions.
Yeah. Right. If you want to, Ahmed, to take the questions on the panel, I don't mind. But just use the question now until I just finish the story here. We have a story which is being authenticated by some of the scholars in Muslim Ahmed, which is Al-Harith, which is the father of Juwayriyah. Juwayriyah, remember, her name was Barra. The Prophet of Allah renamed it to be Juwayriyah. Barra means righteousness. The Prophet of Allah disliked the way to say, I came out from righteousness and I came to righteousness. This is his wife. So he called her Juwayriyah. Her father is called Al-Harith ibn al-Khuzai. Al-Harith when he embraced Islam, he said, Messenger of Allah, okay, let me go to my people and collect the zakah, and then send me someone to collect the zakah which I've collected from my people. So the Prophet agreed, and they made an appointment for a date. So that man, Al-Harith, went to his people, he called them to Islam, and the ones who embraced Islam called him to pay zakah. He collected the zakah. Prophet of Allah had sent him someone called Al-Walid ibn Uqbah bin Mu'ayth. Somehow Al-Walid got delayed. And because he got delayed, Al-Harith, he thought maybe hung on it, that maybe the Prophet of Allah or Allah Azza wa Jal is angry from him. They collected the senior people of his, and they headed towards the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay, it's a big distance, by the way, between that place where they live, Al-Qadid, next to Usfan, there's those areas. It's close to Mecca. Huh? So he headed towards the Prophet to see what's happening. Al-Walid, because he delayed, he saw them coming. And he thought when they were coming, they're actually coming to kill him. Shaitan put that into him. He believed that they're going to come to kill him. So he straight away, he ran off and he preceded them to the Prophet. And he got there first. And he told him, Messenger of Allah, those people you sent me to, they wanted to kill me. They didn't wait for me to go and get the zakah from them. The third Prophet prepared an army. He sent the army to go and get Al-Harith ibn Zura al-Khuzai. The army met Al-Harith and his senior people on the way. So they got him handed as well, and they brought him to the Prophet. Because he said to him, did you want to kill my messenger and you prevented to give him the zakah? Said, Messenger of Allah, nothing of that happened. And then he told him the story. Allah Azza wa Jalla sent the following verses. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu an tusibu qawman bijahalatin fatusbihu ala ma fa'altum. So from that moment, the person is being asked to verify the information. So Zayd ibn al-Arqam, he came to the Prophet of Allah, even though he's a companion, to say about very bad people that they said so and so. Prophet of Allah he didn't have a proof. He didn't have a witness with him. He called them, and these people just made an oath. We did not do it. We did not do it. So he believed them, even though Prophet of Allah, if it has to be in his hand and there's no rule, he would have just said, I don't believe you, you're hypocrites. You are liars. You hate us anyway. But he has to go by the law, by the system. Now, Yalla ya Ahmad, any questions there?
Okay, one question.
Yalla.
Who is the most knowledgeable scholar in hadith right now that's alive?
Well, I don't know what you're going to gain from that question, because the most knowledgeable doesn't mean that all his verdicts are to be correct. Okay? It doesn't mean that. But you could say the oldest scholar who is in hadith after the Sheikh al-Albani now is Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad. No doubt about that. But to say the most knowledgeable in hadith, I would say he's from the most knowledgeable. But to say he is the most knowledgeable, Allahu A'lam. He is one of the most knowledgeable. And he's the oldest in hadith left after Sheikh al-Albani rahimahullah. But there are others whom I know that I regard them, mashallah, great scholars in hadith. Allahu A'lam. Now.
Okay, Sheikh. So who are actually the most knowledgeable scholar right now?
That's not his question. That's your question.
No, this is my question now, Sheikh.
Yeah. Give another question. Your co-host.
Okay, from the chat. Bismillah. Okay. Can you please explain how the fight between the Muhajirun and Ansar was about to start again?
I mean, just to explain something I've already explained. I said this is triggered by something which is a person had kicked another person. That's it. Kasa'a means rakalahu birijlih. He had, he kicked him with his foot. He kicked him on his back. So that person, he did not kick back, but he had called for his friends to come. And he called the Ansar. And the Muhajir said, okay, Muhajirin, come, help. And both of them, they got together. They want to help without knowing what is happening. So this is when the Prophet ﷺ calmed them down and said, what is this? Are you going to go back to Jahiliyyah? You left Jahiliyyah, you came to Islam. You're going to go back to Jahiliyyah? This as well would happen again later on in the Ifk. story of the ifk. The Prophet of Allah as well calmed them down as well. In the ifk, which is the story of the lie against Aisha. I'm just looking at the time now, and I'm seeing that to talk about this story is going to take me a long, long time. But let me just make a start. Jazakumullah khairan. I would have liked the ones who had left, who would have been with us. Hadith al-Ifk. I will consult with the brother Taha. Please unlock yourself, Taha. What do you think? Should we go with the Ifk or shall we just leave it with the questions and answers? Yeah, Taha. Okay, Taha.
No, Assalamu alaikum.
Who were you? Waking up or something?
لا طه I thought you called me.
Yeah, I've called you. I'm just saying, where are you? Do you think we should go ahead? Or we should just wait for the question and answers? Because this is a story. It's not going to be in one class. It's going to be two classes. It's going to be a class on its own.
We can go ahead, inshallah. That's no issue.
Yeah, but we're going to finish it. You know that.
Inshallah, it's fine. We can finish it off after to the next lesson.
Okay, khair, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Naam. Salam.
Sheikh, I had a question, which was...
did you listen to what the brother is saying? Because he's saying that we have to go with the story.
Oh, sorry, Sheikh. I thought he said next lesson. Sorry, Sheikh. No, continue with the ifk. Continue. Jazakallah.
No. So, as we said, alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Basically, the hypocrites, they did not basically stop at what they have done. They still plotted against the Muslims to make sure that there will be all the time conflict and all the time there will be no unity. So here we find this who is called al-ifk, the court al-ifk, the great lie. So what is the ifk? Who is the one who created this lie? And it's about whom is this lie? Who is the innocent person? And how did the Prophet of Allah and the Muslim lived such an atmosphere? And how Allah Azza wa Jalla as well exonerated that person who is being accused with this false lie. Aisha radiallahu anha is the one who is being accused. Mother of the believers, the most beloved wife of the Prophet sallallahu Aisha radiallahu anha, whom she was the daughter of the best of people after the prophets, Abu Bakr radiallahu anha. May Allah be pleased with both of them. So she left Abu Bakr's house to go to the Prophet's house as a wife. And the Prophet of Allah, when he was asked who is the most beloved woman to his heart, he said Aisha. And from the men, he said her father, and that is Abu Bakr radiallahu anha. Aisha radiallahu anha is the one whom the Prophet of Allah, he said that the Aisha's excellence compared to the other women is like the excellence of a tharid, the best of food. We have a mansafar, the best of food, to the rest of the food. Aisha radiallahu anha, whom the Prophet of Allah said that she is my wife in Jannah. Aisha radiallahu anha, whom she was with the Prophet ﷺ, and Jibreel entered upon them, and Jibreel ﷺ did not enter upon any of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ except Aisha. Aisha radiallahu anha, whom the Prophet ﷺ, he said to her, "Oh Aisha, this is Jibreel, he's saying salam to you." And he said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, you see what we don't see." And after all of that, we find those people calling themselves Shia, they are actually Rafidah. They are insulting Aisha radiallahu anha and accusing her of fornication wal iyadu billah. And they are cursing her day and night. And they say that she's from the people of hellfire. And Allah Azza wa Jal had his revenge from these people called Rafidah. Just like because they have accused the Prophet ﷺ's wife with fornication, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put an accusation, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in their lineage something that is people will use it as an accusation that this is maybe not your son. The Rafidah, they could be production from something called al-mut'ah. Maybe their mother, she was with somebody else for half an hour, 2 hours, and they made this, and he was a product from this. So we say that, how can you prove that you are the son of your mother? just like you have accused Aisha radiallahu anha to be fornicator. Allah had put the accusation in their lineage. The ones on this day they accuse us, they accuse the Abu Bakr and Aisha, they are the source, and Ahl Sunnah, the source of Corona. Alhamdulillah, Allah made the Corona mostly in Iran now, in the Shia themselves, the Rafida. Just to show them. We're not really happy that the Rafida are getting the Corona, but this is a punishment for you. Who you heard your Sheikh saying all of that, you're liars, and you did not say anything. Bukhari, this story narrated by to us, that Aisha herself is telling us about what happened. She said that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he wanted to make a journey, he would basically make qur'a, drawing lots. He would just, for example, pick an arrow and see which one of the wives. You would say, maybe why not the Prophet of Allah would take one, and the second journey would take another one, and the third one would take another, because the journeys are not known how many. Prophet Allah could be just making 2 journeys and that's it. So it would be unfair if you took them on order, and then the rest will ask, what is my So that's why he would use qur'a. Which one is going to be the one whom her arrow would be picked up? Oh, it's you, Aisha. Oh, it's so it could be one woman been traveling with him more than 2 times in 2 consecutive journeys. So Aisha, she's the one whom the qur'a landed on her. So she was the Prophet ﷺ companion. So radiallahu anha, she said that it was after, it was in the battle of Mustaliq. So she went with the Prophet of Allah in the fight of Bani al-Mustaliq. He came with the Prophet ﷺ, and already there's a hijab is being imposed upon the women. So that means at the moment she is covered as well with a niqab, fully. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ, all of them to be covered fully, even their faces. And it used to be carried in the hawdaj. Hawdaj is a small little, like I don't know what you call them, like a cottage, something that is being carried in the camels. I don't know if you've seen the Chinese, they have it, the Indian, they have it all times. They put them on the elephants, so the people would be inside it. So she was carried. It would be picked up and then put into the camel, and then picked up from the camel and would be put down as well. So, radiallahu anha, she said, as soon as we left from the battle, going back towards Medina, and we almost got closer to Medina, we camped in that place. And when they camped, I went to just go relieve myself, to go and relieve myself, maybe whatever. She said, I wanted to go and do what I need to do. After she went there, she came back. So she started to look, and she had lost her necklace. Okay, she lost her necklace. And this necklace is made of special things, alfar, it's like the tusk of the elephants, alfar, very expensive necklace. So what she did, she went back to where she was, and she started looking for it. Because she did so, those people who carry this hawdaj, they thought she's still in the hawdaj. And when they carried it, they couldn't feel the weight difference, because she said, I'm still young, I'm still bony, and basically I don't have meat. I'm not like chubby women, so it would be, oh, it's empty. They didn't know. So they lifted it up and they put it on top of the camel, thinking that I'm inside it. And they started going. So I found my necklace, she said. Okay. And then I came to see what happened, and I saw everybody's not there. Nobody's there. So what I did, I went to a place where the camel was there, and I stayed there, and I thought the people, as soon as they're going to realize that I'm not there, they're going to go back, and they will find me, they will bring me back. How innocent she was. Radiallahu anha. While she was there, slumber come over her, and she slept. She's tired. One of the people called Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal as-Sulami, radiallahu anhu. Safwan, okay, he stayed behind the army, okay, in order to make sure that there is nothing there missing or something. He stayed behind the army. And Safwan, he's got this habit of his that he oversleeps, radiallahu anhu. So when it came to the to the night, and he got close to where I am. He saw my shadow. And then he got closer, and then he knew me because he saw me before the hijab, so he recognized me straight away. What he just said, Anna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong, and to him we shall return. That means like, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It's like a sign of, it's not being pleased of what has taken place. That she's left there on her own behind. So she said, I woke up because of his inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And he did not talk to me whatsoever. But what he did, as soon as I woke up, I covered my face. That means he was uncovered. That's how you recognize that. He covered her face, and he does not say to me any word except for those inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So he brought the camel, made him to kneel down. I went on top of it, and he started holding the tether of the camel and taking it and going forward to catch up with the army. The army the following day, because of the heat, they stopped and okay. So they waited there, and then they realized that Aisha is not there. Okay. So basically, as soon as they saw Aisha radiallahu anha is being dragged by Safwan, Abdullah ibn Ubay said, "We took this opportunity." He said, "Look, watch. He was not there, and she was with him. What they were doing. It's like we say to somebody, we want to accuse them. Oh, what are men and women with the Quran making qiyam together? But accusing of, basically, what they're doing. So this is when they started to say that they have fornicated, on which I'm going to stop here, because after that it's going to be another lecture in itself. So I will stop here, inshallah, and tell you the rest of the story, bi'idhnillah, inshallah, next in 2 weeks' time. Jazakumullah khairan. If you have any question up to here or question from the ones we before, please go ahead. Jazakumullah khairan.
Person is asking, Sheikh, if somebody constantly has to expiate their oath and they've lost track how many oaths they've broken, what do they do?
Then he will build upon the minimum. So he thinks that it is how many oaths he made, 4 or 5. So he'll make, that is 5. Sorry, not the maximum. They will say 5. So he will expiate 5 oaths. Okay. But remember, if you made an oath regarding one thing, let's say I said, by Allah, I'm not going to lift up the key. By Allah, I'm not going to lift up this cup. I'm not going to lift. I said, by Allah 3 times, and you lifted up the cup. This is also considered to be one. But if you talk about different oaths, each one has to be expiated, and you build upon the maximum. So you're done 2 or 5, you expiate for 5 oaths. Now,
Person is asking, what was the name of the beautiful woman that the Prophet ﷺ married? Again, please.
her name is Barra, and then he changed her name to Juwayriyah. Juwayriyah is a common Pakistani name as well at the moment. Actually, I've heard Juwayriyah from the Pakistani community more than I've heard from the Arabs, subhanAllah.
Sheikh Zahid here, Assalamu alaikum. Can we make a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives coronavirus to the enemies and the hypocrites of Islam at this moment in time? Can we do that?
You're not allowed to do that. You can't, because these kuffar, they are good kuffar in terms of with us. Imagine that your neighbor had heard you, may Allah give you virus, corona. He's going to love you? How is he going to be? Making him good to listen to the da'wah? A'udhu billah. Prophet of Allah, he made us to be very good to our neighbors from the Jews and the Christians and all of them. This is how we spread Islam. Okay? And by the way, coronavirus is a sin expiation. Okay? I'm not saying, oh Lord, give us coronavirus to expiate our sin. But I'm just saying, if we look at it from the other side, it is good as well. And I'm telling you, your world is going to be different after corona than the one before corona. It's going to be much different. Allahu A'lam. So, no, we don't do that. Now.
Sorry, Ahmed, you had a question?
Ashraf is asking about, quote, Abu Iyad was asked, when does a man know he's from Ahlul Sunnah? He replied, when his knowledge goes back to the Quran and the Sunnah and the sayings of the Salaf, then he's on the way of Ahlul Sunnah. And if his speech goes back to, and then I can't read this in English, but it says Al-Jabi and Al-Kabi, then he is not. He's asking, what is this? Al-Jabi, Al-Kabi, something like this.
Allahu A'lam. Now, can we just concentrate on our class?
شيخي رضا معك جزاك الله خير.
الله يرضى.
You know, these people that are accusing Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha, that she's a fornicator. How do we class them out? How do we address them? Because this is a serious sin.
Addressed as a fornicator, they're kuffar. It's not because they accuse of fornication because you could be slandered. No. It's because you are disbelieving in the Quran. So the scholars had said how we could classify a Rafidi as a kafir or not. If he, for example, insulted the companions an insultation, which is to do with he hates them because they have done what he believes against Ali, they are misguided. But if he hates them because they are the ones who had carried the religion and the deen, they're kuffar. The ones who had accused Aisha of fornication, it's not because of the fornication, it's because he had belied the ayat in Surah An-Nur, where Allah Azza wa Jal, he had made her to be innocent. So he's a kafir. So any person who belies these verses by saying Aisha, no, she is, okay, he's the fornicator, he's a kafir. But you know for a fact that the Rafidah, regarding those verses in Surah An-Nur, they do not really place these ayat for Aisha. Some of them, even some of them like a Sistani had dared himself to put it, it's Maria al-Qibtiyya. And then when the focus was upon him, okay, straight away they changed their fatwa. They took the fatwa out and they said, no, it means Aisha, not Maria al-Qibtiyya. Allahul Musta'an. Allahul Musta'an.
جزاكم الله خيرا شيخ.
Person is asking, is it authentic that Aisha radiallahu anha's janaza was prayed in the graveyard in Baqi?
Her janaza?
Yeah. He's asking, is it authentic that it was prayed inside the graveyard of Baqi?
Her janaza prayed inside the people instead of praying in the graveyard, they prayed on her. Allah. What we know, Akhi Barakallahu Fikum, regarding these stories, first of all, that Aisha and all the companions, radiallahu anhum wa ardahum, that regarding when they are alive, they would not accept that the janazah prayer is to take place where the Prophet of Allah had made that janazah. So we have the janazah, which is usual to be prayed in we call it Musalla al-Janaiz. Musalla al-Janaiz. It's like a place for praying the janazah outside the cemetery. It's not in the masjid. But is it allowed to pray the janazah in the masjid? Yes. For s.a.w. ibn Abi Waqqas, when he was killed, the prayer of the janazah that was prayed inside the masjid. Now, praying in the cemetery, if you think that of taking the body of Aisha and putting it in the cemetery and they offer the janazah, that's incorrect. But if you're talking about that Aisha or any other person inside the grave is being buried already, and janazah is to take place, Prophet of Allah had done that. He'd done it on those people who are the martyrs of Uhud. He came and he may offer the janazah prayer after 8 years of their death, the martyrs of Uhud. And he made their grave between him and the Qibla, and he offered the janazah prayer. Not in your normal prayer, janazah prayer. But to put the fresh body into the cemetery and offer the janazah prayer, no, that's not incorrect, whether it's Aisha or others. No.
Person is asking, Sheikh, what is the ayah that exonerated Aisha radiallahu anha? Which ayah is that?
In Surah An-Nur, we'll come to it inshallah and explain it in thorough because it's a long verse. Okay? So when we come to it inshallah next time, 2 weeks time, we will do it. Right, tafadhal.
Person is asking.
Let what's his name? Ahmed finish the questions of the panel. Jazakumullah khair.
Person is asking, what was the full name of the companion radiallahu anhu who had found Aisha radiallahu anha?
What is the name of the companion who what?
Yeah, he's asking for his full name for the companion radiallahu anhu who had found Aisha radiallahu anha when she was left behind.
Safwan ibn Mu'attal al-Sulami. Naam. No question. Fadal ya Harith.
Naam, Sheikh. My question was that is it correct and is it possible for us to use the evidence that when Aisha radiallahu anha she was exonerated and she said that I'm going to thank
We're
Allah.
talking about something we're going to be talking about, Ya Habibi. Remember that. You're going to be
Okay.
talking about, we haven't talked about it, Ya Harith. Allah Yahdik. I mean,
No,
the
no
verses,
problem.
they're not one verse. There are plenty of verses. It says in Surah An-Nur, it talks about how the Allah Azza wa Jal would tell the companions, shouldn't have really gone along with this rumors. It talks about those people whom had spoken ill against Aisha and Allah Azza wa Jal had forgiven them. Speaks about Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu wa ardah, when he stopped giving the charity unto Mistah, and then Allah Azza wa Jal told him, to go and give back to the charity. So lots of verses. That's why I'm just saying to the person who's asking me where is the ayat and so on. There's more than one ayah, but they are. We're going to talk about them. It's a lecture in itself. A lecture in itself. Okay.
Naam, inshallah, Sheikh. Another question then, Sheikh.
Yeah.
If someone is drinking or eating the food with the left hand and the food is in the mouth, should they take this out or are they allowed to swallow this?
If it's already in the mouth, you don't take it out. But don't stop doing it. Listen. You don't take it. It's in the mouth. Khalas, you reached the mouth already. Say Bismillah. No, Jazak.
Sheikh, this is
the shaitan, whatever he's already had eaten with you as well.
Sheikh, this is Fazal. Assalamu alaikum. May I ask a question on Salah? Is that okay?
Yeah, Fadal.
Sheikh, the question is, can you clarify for us when getting up from the second to the third rak'ah, when should the hands be raised? While still sitting or after we have risen up, or are both positions okay? Barakallahu feek.
Well, that question, I asked it as well when I was at the beginning of my ladder of knowledge, gaining knowledge, because we do have a hadith which says that the Prophet ﷺ, he would raise up his hands after the second takbirah, just like he made in the first takbirah. He would raise up his hand, just like he made it in the first takbirah. Now, just like he made it in the first takbirah, does it mean that means when he was up? Or is it like when he was down, that is to do with before or after or with? I have learned from our Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah that you do the raising of the hands at the bottom. Because if you did it at the top, that means you're going to make your takbir on the top, which is not correct. To do it down before you start with this. So if you're going to make it down, takbir, and you're going to wait until you go up and you make the raising of the hands, that's a big gap. That's not after. That's well after. So the takbir has to be before or while, but not after you finish. So when you make a ruku', you have to say Sami Allah liman hamida before you reach a ruku'. When you say Allahu Akbar to raise up your hand, or Rabbana wa lakal hamd, you have to say it before you. Same thing with takbirat. You have to do it before you start or while you're doing it, but not when you finished it. So now if you're going to make your takbir al-ihram up, that means you're going to pull the takbir word with it up, which is not correct. Or you're going to say the takbir while you're down, you make the raising up the hand at the top, and that's not correct as well because there's a gap. So you do it when you are down. Now.
Are all Shia kuffar?
No, incorrect. We don't make takfir with wholesale. Wholesale takfir is not for us.
Can a person teach an adult woman, a man he's asking about, I think, Quran if their father is present online?
Can a man teach the Quran when the present father, but not looking at her mouth? Listening to her, no problem, but not to see her on a screen like me, even if her father present. Oh, he's going to be looking at her mouth and her teeth and her. He's not going to be concentrating on the Quran. No, it's not correct. Yeah, listening to her, no problem.
Person is asking that if a person he broke his fast while in Jahiliyyah, I don't think he means Jahiliyyah, maybe ignorant, but he's saying, does he have to make that fast up? He broke his fast intentionally.
In Jahiliyyah, that means before he was committed to the deen. Okay, we say to him, just may repent to Allah Azza wa Jalla and increase in the voluntary fast, because this is just like the prayer, exactly the same. So we just increase in the voluntary fast, inshallah, Allah will forgive for you what you have done in the Jahiliyyah. And by this, I have just, because I got a headache, Jazakumullah khairan, please forgive me for that, because I've got another lecture, I need to prepare for it. Subhanakallah bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا وأحسن الله.